venues, which is a lobby area of a venue space. And as you said, within 60 seconds of being in the space, I had 3 male avatars with male voices surrounding me, verbally harassing me, sexually harassing me, and touching my avatar inappropriately, with a 4th avatar taking photos and continuing to verbally and sexually harass me. I yelled, "Stop, stop, please stop it," and they didn't.
What kind of verbal harassment were you experiencing?
Suggestions of doing acts that I would prefer not to say on television, and suggesting that I was here to be assaulted, and that the whole purpose of me entering this venue was that I wanted to be sexually harassed and sexually assaulted.
What did these male avatars look like?
Well, they were digital avatars. They were... everyone has a similar look and age and as an avatar. It's hard to describe. And they were just an assorted set of the selected meta avatars that you can choose from when you enter Meta's horizons.
So did they pin you down and then you just threw your goggles off your face?
No, there's no pinning down option, so I couldn't actually feel their hands on my avatar, but the photo suggests that they were doing movements to indicate...
And how did you feel about this whole thing?
It was very upsetting. I froze in the moment. I wasn't able to enable the safety features that are in place within the virtual environment. All I could do was yell, "Stop it, what are you doing?" And then to end it, finally, because it was very clear that they were not going to stop, to take my headset off.
Has Facebook apologized?
Look, this is funny, okay? I know y'all are laughing at this, all right? Look at this woman. How old does this woman look? She probably looks around my age, right? Like in her 30s. Now, I guarantee you she grew up probably playing Xbox or something like that. And I can guarantee you right now she also grew up with AOL chat rooms. Dude, that's all this is. It's a virtual chat room. And people are going to sit there like, "Oh, I was raped in the virtual chat room."
Is becoming another verse, another universe. It's another reality for these people. They're stuck in there. They do it all day long. But what is it that's drawing them in? Well, it's like, I guess, the pleasures. There's all these pleasures. Like you could spend your whole life just having sex with an avatar or murdering people, or why is it all evil stuff?
Yep.
Is there some license to do evil in the metaverse? I don't think I'd want to go there, guys. And if you're not going to feel it, you know, if you're not going to sense what's going, well, I thank goodness, right? If they're murdering you, you don't feel it at the moment. But things are going to start getting more real. The digital universe is going to look more real. They're getting more advanced technology so they can make it more real. There will start being smell.
The only way that it becomes real is if you hook the sensors to your brain. So you would have to literally plug yourself into the system. You would have to literally plug it up to your brain to where it would be like some kind of Matrix deal. And people think that like plants and the human body isn't technology. But then again, you can hook technology up to it. And it's the oldest tech in the book.
And feelings and stuff in there. And again, what is it going to be for? So that you can have all this pleasure and experience things you could never do in the real world. Because obviously, they can't make a better world than what we got, other than they can give you things that are no-nos in the real world that you're not allowed to do in the real world, but you're allowed to do it there. But here's the thing. According to the gospel of Jesus Christ, even if you do stuff in your mind, you're still doing it. It's about the intent. They're murdering our children. Don't let your children on the internet, friends. Don't let them play these games. If you have smaller children that you can tell them what to do. You need to make sure you instill in them never to have anything to do with this wicked metaverse. Tell them, don't let your kids go on Facebook. You say, well, Dave, you're on Facebook. No, I am on YouTube and Facebook only to put out the message of the gospel. I don't spend any time on Facebook other than, while I'm on there, people who ask me questions about the gospel, or a friend might say hello. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm not talking to you because you're on the metaverse. So, I'm because of being on YouTube, so I can get these videos out, I do have some interaction. But, and I think some of you use Facebook to talk to your family and stuff. I would say, well, that's all right. If there's a good reason to be on there, go ahead. But I must caution you guys, there's coming a point when all of us are going to have to get off. I think we should get off now.
They're going to force us off. I told you, the internet's going down. How this works is they need to take out these tech companies first. So like YouTube, Facebook, they'll all be taken down. They're all going to try to switch their names. Facebook's already doing it. We're already experiencing these CEOs and everything going through the Supreme Court justice and being sued left and right. I'm surprised this woman isn't trying to sue Zuckerberg for being raped in the metaverse. But then again, free crack pipe Friday.
Really should. It's a dilemma because I do feel as though I do need to get, these videos out there so people can see them that are preaching and teaching about the gospel. I don't know. It may be that at some point, we talked about this enlightenment that the Christians are going to have. The saints are going to get enlightened, and that's what's going to get them through this. While the world's becoming transformers, going into the metaverse and becoming sort of transformed into some evil, wicked garbage, the saints will be transforming into a spiritual, more pure, loving type of situation. So, you can't be training your mind for love and at the same time indulging in wickedness and darkness. We have to say no. Now, here's what I think we ought to do. Everybody's got to make their own decisions right now, but we all know this if we're Christians. We've got to preserve the heart. Jesus said, take care of your heart, because what comes out of there will defile you. So if you're defiled with that evil and it overcomes you, you're not going to get to go into the kingdom of our dear Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, that's coming. You'll have to get the resurrection unto judgment, and you'll be brought to bear all the things that you've done. If you haven't progressed spiritually and in love and in faith, then you're degenerating and you're going down into these areas where you're going to have to go back to class. You're going to pay for the things that you do. It's called karma. There's consequences to everything. You're dwarfing your mind. You're thwarting your potential. And it's dangerous. And no one should ever do this.
There has been a lot of chatter about the state of CNN, with our own Joe Concha saying the network's collapse is now complete, but CNN hosts doing their best to send a different message.
This place is not perfect. It will never be perfect. We will always have flaws. We will always screw up. We will always have to run corrections. We will always have to keep working to make it better and better and better every single day. That is the goal. We lost our leader this week. We're not going anywhere.
Joining us live with his take is Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, why do you disagree with Stelter?
Well, again, he's an impressive fellow. To run the whole public relations unit and to run opposition research, that division, and to run the crisis management division as well, and to be the CNN media correspondent, wearing all those hats at once is impressive. Why do I disagree with him? Because the network truly is collapsing now at this point, guys. Because considering what has happened recently, right? It's network president Jeff Zucker. He's been there for about the past decade. He was forced forced out abruptly. On an excuse, by the way, that zero people in the country believe because of a consensual relationship. I mean, even with the network president resigning, the network is lying to its viewers because it was much more than that, given all the reports we're seeing as far as Zucker and his girlfriend, Alison Gullist, advising Andrew Cuomo on how to hit Donald Trump on COVID at the height of a pandemic while making Cuomo look good and then getting all the ratings they got out of it by arranging all those interviews between Andrew Cuomo and Chris Cuomo at the time. So yeah, that's laughable. That's the excuse that why Jeff Zucker's out. But also its top-rated anchor, the man I just mentioned, Chris Cuomo, and I get that top-rated anchor over at CNN means skinniest kid at fat camp, but Cuomo also out recently, so their biggest star is gone. But most importantly, from a business perspective, they have lost 90% of their audience when compared to the same time last year. Now imagine that. 10 people are in a room, Carly, right? They're watching CNN 1 year ago. 9 have left the room. So business is horrible. It has no leader, and this is the state of CNN at this point, which has no credibility, and certainly is not the network that I watched growing up during the 2 Gulf Wars, where
In China, Joe, when I saw this, I said, cue Concha, let's cue this tape.
all right.
Who are we to criticize China's human rights records when we have ongoing attacks by the agents of the state against unarmed citizens, and we've got assaults on the voting rights? So sports, I think it is possible, and it's necessary more than ever to just shut everything out if you are to enjoy the actual games themselves.
And not only did ESPN not censure that, they promoted that clip. Are people like Adande, people at ESPN, too stupid to understand the dangers of China, or too ignorant of what exactly is in the Republican voting preservation bills? Joe?
Adande, who says, wait, we have voting issues here, and that compares to what's happening with the Uyghurs as far as slave labor. Here's the newsflash. 3 in 4 Americans support voter ID requirements in this country, including a majority of African-American voters. You want to go into any ESPN building, you need a photo ID. But of course, nothing's going to happen here to Adande. He'll probably be promoted and be the next anchor of Sports Center because this is what's embraced at ESPN. But if you're conservative over there, you're shown the door quickly for sharing any sort of political view. It's quite hilarious on some level. Okay.
Or like when our president sold out the country to Mexican cartels. Right now, Joe Biden is having his Fredo moment at the southern border. We told you about it last week. I'm not saying Joe Biden's actively colluding with the cartels, but just look at his policies and who benefits. And as always, follow the money. Because it certainly seems like both the cartels and the Democratic Party are mutually benefiting from what's unfolding along the border. I'm never one to pass up a chance to say I was right, but here we are. We have real reporting now that Joe Biden's administration is actually coordinating with the cartels. Literal babies are being dropped over the border fence like sacks of dirt, left to waste away in the burning Texas sun, hungry, thirsty, and crying out for help. But Biden won't protect them. Instead, he chooses to work with people like this.
Go for the door. You stay right there before we move. Hey, calm down. Calm down. Calm down. Back up. Back up. Get your foot back in there. Get your foot back in there. Get your foot back in there. Ma'am, we're going to have to tase you. You're not going to like that. I don't understand what you're telling me.
That was a member of the flesh trade, a human smuggler just cashing in. Biden has effectively partnered with cartel coyotes, like that screaming demon. Border Patrol has been forced to make a deal with the devil. They're left having to work with the coyotes to coordinate drop-offs of insane people like this guy. Is he possessed? Is he tweaking out? We have no idea. This is who Border
Possessed, tweaking out, it's the same thing.
Patrol is stuck with. This is who America can end up with. So the only way they can ensure the safety of the border crossers and themselves is this way.
Look, dude peed his pants. Demon on his crotch.
The Biden administration has decided it must work with cartel coyotes. According to former CBP Commissioner Mark Morgan, they wanted to avoid scenes like the ones of children being dropped over walls in remote areas. It may be safer, but it also makes the cartel's job easier and more lucrative. The cartels have taken control of our border, and we're negotiating with the hostage takers. The Sinaloa cartel, one of the oldest and most established of the crime syndicates, once led by, El Chapo.
Fuerte enfrentamiento en estos momentos. Desconocemos cuántos muertos. Hay una fuerte balacera.
There's also the Jalisco New Generation cartel, the newest terror on the block, who hang their murdered victims and rivals from bridges to scare away any challengers.
That they do.
Biden turned our border patrol into crossing guards.
What's that? No one patrolling the border. We just show up and just start grabbing people with knives. Really? How many like this a day? Over 1,000. Over 1,000 per day. So, just totally open. And right there, just through that one hole. Half wall, some down that way. Wow. 1,000 per day. Holy shit. Right now. Really have enough people to even pick up the ones that are coming across. So yeah. Sometimes they're waiting out there a long time and they get tired of waiting and they'll start coming in. Because I was just sitting here and they came up to me asking me for help. And I'm like, what do you want me to do? And they're like, do people call in all the time with groups coming up to people and asking for help and stuff? Like, yeah, they'll call people first, they'll drop them off at the station.
Migrants are given folders and signs asking for help to illegally sneak into our country. Don't worry, though. The signs have a smiley face at the end, so you know it's only good people coming across. And once these migrants are here,
don't forget about your free crack pipe.
They're given money by us and ferried across the country in planes and buses, landing in your backyard. And the cost of being smuggled, not cheap. So these illegals owe the cartel thousands. They work off their debt like indentured servants, worse. Muling drugs, doing drops, prostitution, hard labor, are really tough jobs.
We make a disclosure every year of our financial disclosure. That's what it is. Disclosure. That's what it is. Disclosure. That's what it is. The court system, the third branch of government, the judiciary has no reporting. The Supreme Court has no disclosure. It has no reporting of stock transactions, and it makes important decisions every day.
Crumbling agenda at risk.
The embattled president standing at an abysmal 39% in the Real Clear Politics average of polls. Here to react, Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, what is your assessment here? Is it crime? Is it COVID? The press conference? What's going on?
Well, I think this indelible impression, Carly, has been established now. And this is very difficult to reverse. Too many people in this country believe, and this includes more than a few Democrats, that Joe Biden is simply not capable, not competent in doing this job at this stage of his life. Back together as Todd and I know by telling our kids.
Yeah, once you skin a potato and boil it, you can't really do much with it after that.